to touch. And then just taking a moment to settle into your space as always. So we take this time to just shift our awareness inward, bring our focus to nothing more than our space here on our mats. And letting go of our days. You're going to extend those arms as long as you can in front of you, nice and long, stretching those fingertips wide, pressing your fingertips and the forearms to the mat as you just let your hips sink down towards the heels. And again, that might not be possible just yet, but just find a nice gentle stretch. Even if it's tight on the hips and maybe just, or the knees, just keep your hips lifted. And just take a moment to tune into your breath. Maybe noticing any sensations in the body here. And perhaps right now, taking this time to send the breath to those areas of resistance or areas where you might be feeling a little bit tight. And focus your energy into those areas of the body. And take a nice deep, rich breath in through the nose, filling up the lungs. And together, let's take a deep open mouth exhale, sending the breath out. Finding a balance with your inhale and a balance with your exhale. Maybe even massaging the forehead from side to side as you settle here in this first child's pose of the practice. And then just take a moment to find, again, a nice calming breath. Slow inhales through the nose, but this time seal the lips and breathe out through the nose. And we're activating that Ujjayi breath, or breathing of yoga. A nice slow breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Keep your hips as they are, your forehead as it is. Just walk those hands over to the right. Maybe lift your head just for a moment. And then press the forehead back down. So a nice stretch going through the left side of the body here in this variation of child's pose. Again, breathing in through the nose and out. Go ahead and crawl the hands back through to center. Maybe lift your forehead just to allow for the movement. And then bring those hands over to the left side of your mat, or the opposite. And then sit back down into the pose. Rest the forehead down. You should feel a stretch moving through the right side of your body. And again, now take this breath to come back through to center. This time, as we come to center, we're just going to lift those forearms off the mat. Keep the forehead down and just push into the tips of our fingers, really stretching the shoulder muscles, creating length in the neck and the spine. And now from here, start to lift your gaze and slowly begin to shift the weight into your hands, bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, and then drawing your knees underneath your hips. Right away, we tuck those toes under and we just create some gentle movements here on the mat. Maybe taking some nice gentle sways. I like to say any organic movements that come to mind here that feel good for you. We're just waking up the body in this practice. And again, rotate the direction of your movements. And take your time to come back to center. We're going to move into 3 cat and cows. So you've been here before many times, and just allow your breath to guide you. Remember, on the inhale, you just drop the belly down, soften at the elbows, lift your gaze. And then on the exhale, you do the opposite. You round out through the spine, bring your chin to your chest, maybe shake the head out, hollowing out the belly. And again, inhale, open the chest and the heart. Exhale, rounding out through that spine, chin to chest, press the earth away. One last time, inhale, open the chest and the heart. Lift the gaze. Exhale, round out through that spine, chin to chest, cat pose. Pulling the belly in, holding. Let's come back to center. We're going to open up the hamstrings now. Press into your left toes and just push that right foot back. And imagine you're pushing a wall behind you. We're gonna keep both hands down and we're just gonna focus on this lengthening and this stretch in the right glute. And now as you do so, point the toes down, push that heel up. I want you to take a couple of little pulses. Just little pulses as you push that right heel up. You should feel this in your right glute and your right quad. Engage in the core. Deep breath in. On the exhale, we're just gonna release that right knee down. Let's do the same thing on the second side. Start by just extending your left foot behind you. Again, lifting the foot off the mat, toes point down, heel extend up. And we're just gonna take a couple of little pulses. Really focus on the spine. Try not to curve the spine, so really pull the belly in, press into the hands, and lift that heel. Just little pulses for 5. Again, you'll feel this in the left glute. 3. Keep your core engaged for 2. And release it in 1. Nice work. Just go ahead and shift back and forward a couple of times. And now from here, we're going to take a moment to work into our plank pose. This is where I'll break down your chaturanga in preparation for the flow. Just take your right foot behind you, but this time put the toes down. And then put your left foot behind you, again, toes down. And so you'll notice that you have a nice flat back. Your hips should be in line with the shoulders. If you notice that your back is, belly is dumping down, then you might want to drop the knees down and really focus on engaging your core and lifting that torso up a little bit higher. So for your plank pose, you want to keep the hips in line with the shoulders, looking forward. Take a deep breath here. And we're just going to do one more pulse. Push into the heels as you press into the ball mounds of your feet. As if you're shifting forward and back. Now slowly drop the knees down. Untuck the toes, look forward. And I'd like for you to lower very slowly with your elbows squeezing the side body. If you need to pin me to see me, do so. You're lowering with your elbows squeezing. With control, drop down to the belly. Let's extend the legs behind us and move into a baby cobra. That's variation 1. Lift the chest. Exhale, release. Coming up to variation 2 into an upward facing dog. So you're coming up a little bit higher, but not the full up dog. So you're coming up, pushing into the hands. Your knees are still down, but your chest is lifting higher. Exhale, release. Now let's go into the full up dog. On the next inhale, breath, push into the tops of your feet, push into your hands, open the chest and the heart, and lift your thighs off the mat. Chest is forward, shoulders back. As you exhale, roll over those toes. Downward facing dog, hips back up to the sky. Take a moment to just pedal out the feet. Hopefully that was a nice breakdown for you, Miranda. We'll do it again so you'll be able to see. That was your first breakdown of chaturanga with the knees dropped down. Always keeping those knees down until you have that upper body strength. Allow your shoulders to relax. Let the gaze lock towards the hips, the thighs rather, and the belly button. We're going to take a moment to just find our down dog. Feet hips width distance apart, hands as wide as the shoulders, lengthen through the spine. If you need to bend the knees, do so as much as you need to create that nice length. Let's take the right leg up to the sky. You can open up the hip if it's available for you by bending that knee. And as you open up the hip, push down into your left hand and just allow for a gentle opening in that right hip. And now on the exhale, we're just going to lightly step that right foot between our palms, drop the back knee down. We're going to rise up to a modified high lunge. So the left knee is down, that right knee is above the right ankle. Let's take our arms up with the breath. Inhale. On the exhale, I'd like for you to press down into the hips, so you're sinking the hips down, and then you're softening those elbows, lifting your gaze up, opening the heart in this pose. Re-extend. Let's do that 2 more times. Come up tall, and then exhale, squeeze those shoulder blades behind you, lift your gaze. Again, inhale, come up high. One last time as you exhale, squeeze those elbows behind you, lift your gaze. As you exhale, let's just gently release the hands back down to the mat. Step your right foot back to meet your left, second plank pose. I'll give you the second layer of chaturanga. So again, we drop, this time we look forward, we drop the knees down, we untuck the toes. This time we come down halfway, but we don't lower to the belly. We hold halfway. And we come right up into that upward facing dog, modified if you need to, knees down, or go ahead and lift those thighs off your mat. Exhale, roll over the toes, back into your downward facing dog. Let's take a big breath here, inhale. Open mouth, exhale. Same sequence on the left side. Take your left leg to the sky, maybe bend the knee behind you, open up that hip. But as you open up the hip, try to keep those shoulders squared, opening just the hip. Maybe opening up that left knee towards the sky. With control, lightly step between your hands. If you need to walk that hand forward, do so. And then we're just going to slowly rise back up. This time your left knee is above the left ankle. Your arms are reaching up for your modified crescent. So again, find a neutral spine first, and then open the chest and the heart. As you sink down, slowly bend at the elbows. Again, we flow 2 times. Rise up on the breath in. Exhale, elbows down. Again, inhale, rise up with control. Elbows squeeze as you exhale. Let's rise up one more time. Big breath, lengthen. As you exhale, release your hands to the mat. Step back to your plank pose. Now I'm going to walk you through the full chaturanga. Make sure that your hands are underneath your shoulders. Gaze is forward with that flat back. Shift just slightly into the toes, just a little bit forward. Lower halfway, elbow squeeze the ribcage, a low push-up. On the inhale breath, you're coming up fully to that up dog. Thighs and knees lifted. Look forward. Exhale, roll over your toes. Downward facing dog. Let's take 2 breaths in down dog. Inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Again, full breath in. Open mouth, exhale. Let's move slowly, coming forward by looking forward to the top of your mat. As you exhale, you can tiptoe the hands or the feet rather to the top of your mat. Forward fold. Go ahead and catch opposite elbows here. Sway gently from side to side. This is our ragdoll pose. Really just letting the weight of the body hang heavy here. It's a nice restorative pose. Letting everything hang, trickling forward, releasing at the crown of the head. Noticing how the weight is shifted into the toes. Your heels are nice and light. And let's release the hands back down to the mat. And we're just going to crawl those hands over to the right. Again, opening up that side body, because we're going to do a little side body balance today. So you want to open up the side body. So walk your hands to the right. Maybe look behind you. Keep the weight in the toes. Come back to center slowly. And then make your way over to that left side. Noticing that stretch through the right side of your body. Good. Coming right back to center, taking your time. And now from here, I'd like for you to very gently just come up halfway lift, but notice where your hands are. I want you to place them on your shins and really focus on that flat back. Crown of the head is forward, tailbone is back. And if you'd like, let those hands hover in front of you, palms face each other. Take a breath in. On the exhale, with that soft bend in your knees, start to hinge forward. And this time, maybe reach for the calf muscles or the ankles. And just allow yourself to come into a deeper fold. Let's do that again, but this time with the hand variation. Inhale, halfway lift. We're going to go ahead and bring those arms behind us like airplane arms. So palms face each other, pull those shoulders back, and gaze slightly forward. Crown of the head is forward. Weight should be evenly in both feet. And when you're ready, we're slowly going to rise with this flat back. Taking our time, pushing down into the feet. Rise into a stand. And now let's take those arms up towards the sky and reach up. And as we do so, come up onto the tips of your toes, pressing into the ball mounds of your feet, really finding balance and strength. Using the strength in your core to keep you stable. And on the exhale, heels melt down as you bring your hands to your heart center. We're going to flow through 2 sun salutations, 2 simple flows to build some heat in the body. Inhale together, arms up to the sky, mountain pose, reach up, look up. As you exhale, melt your hands forward and let your body hinge at the hips. Release the hands to the mat. Again, that halfway lift, so feel that strength in your spine. Imagine your spine as a tabletop. On the exhale, plant those palms. Take your time to step into your plank pose. Again, chaturanga, we break it down here if you need to, or just flow. Drop the knees if you need to, otherwise work on maintaining that strength. Lower halfway, elbows squeeze the rib cage, that's it. Try not to let the hips come first. Up dog on the breath in, chest is forward, shoulders back. Downward facing dog with fluid control. Hips back to the sky. Take a big breath here. Inhale. Send the breath out. Exhale. And one more time through that flow. Look forward. Deep breath in. On the exhale, just tiptoe up to the top of your mat. Take your time. Forward fold. When you're ready, rise up all the way up. Sweep those arms up and high. Bring the palms together at the top. And then you melt your hands once again to your heart center to reset. Again, inhale, mountain pose, arms up to the sky, reach up, look up. As you exhale, keep those palms together as we fold forward, letting the heart guide you down. Good halfway lift as you inhale, again, that flat back. Hands can dangle if you'd like. On the exhale, plant those palms, step back into that plank pose. Again, another chance for you to work on this chaturanga. Look forward. Keep those hips in line with the shoulders, belly in, and we lower halfway. Up dog on the inhale breath. Pause for just a moment. Be present in your up dog. And then on the exhale, roll into downward facing dog. Beautiful cooling breath here. Inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Let's add on. We're going to move into our first standing sequence. Take the right leg to the sky, but we're not going to open the hip. We're just going to keep our hips square, toes point down. On the exhale, step lightly between your hands into a low lunge. Now I'd like for you to spin the back foot flat. And then your back foot flat is going to be in line with the front heel, but we'll work on that in just a moment. You're coming into a strong pose called your warrior one. You were here last week, but again, this is all about the hips. If you find that this is too much, then you want to widen your stance, and that's okay. That right foot can come out just a tad bit. Focus on bringing that right hip back, left hip forward. I'm going to go ahead and switch sides so you can see me. Right hip back, left hip forward, and then we take those arms up to the sky for our full expression of warrior one. It's a really strong pose. You're pressing into the knife edge of that back foot. Anchored here. Reach up, lengthen, deep breath in. On the exhale, I'd like for you to sink a little bit lower. Again, full breath in, reach up. This time as you exhale, let's just open up the arms. Warrior two, facing the side now, yes. So one little movement, you can adjust the feet if you need to. You want that right heel to be in a sort of alignment with that back arch of your foot. So you want a nice line of energy. Doesn't have to be exact, but just finding comfort. Another hip opener here. Soften that right knee, torso's at center. Let's open up those arms wide. Look forward for the full expression, looking towards the right fingers. And let's just reverse. Reach that left hand down the back leg as we reach the right palm up and back, a reverse warrior. Good. Feel the stretch through the side body because you're going to need this length as we move into our first balance of this standing sequence. Big breath here. On the exhale, come up to a stand. Now from here, I'd like for you to straighten your front leg and bring your hands to your hips. Good. Now from here, I want you to shorten your stance by bringing that front foot in just a bit so you have a narrower stance. You're still in the same position with your feet. We're moving to half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. So what this pose looks like is you soften that right knee, take your right hand and extend that right hand out in front of you, left hand to your hip, right thumb points up. Now from here, I want you to slowly start to release that right hand to the mat. Now, the best position for that right hand is slightly in front of the right foot and to the right. So over to the right and up. Now once you have that position with your right hand, I want you to just take a moment to feel stable in that right foot. Your left hand should be on the left hip or the lower back, whatever feels good for you. You're working towards finding a balance where you're shifting the weight into that right foot, slowly peeling the left toes off the mat. That's it. Doesn't matter how high that left foot goes. You're working on that narrowness in the body, just like you do in triangle. Draw that left hip open, flex the left foot a lot, so much that you're like pushing a wall away from you with that left foot. The final layer of the balance is to extend that left hand to the sky only if it's available. Don't compromise the balance. Find your focus. You are here for just 3. We're going to release in 2. Beautiful, everyone. Stay with me in 1. Listen carefully. Just the left hand comes to the mat. And now slowly, both hands are on the mat. You're going to square your hips down. So your left leg should still be lifted. Well done. Give that left leg a little shake. We're going to do one more little strong pose here. So I want you to look forward. Bend that left knee. And we're just going to take a little baby squat. It's called a yogi squat, a Shiva squat. So tuck, yep, that's it. And sit those hips down. Re-extend that left leg high. Your hands are supporting you. Inhale. Exhale, take that second little yogi squat, maybe coming a little lower. Good. I'll face you. Inhale, re-extend. We're going to do that one more time. This time on the exhale, take that little yogi squat. Sit low and we're going to hold it. Here I challenge you. Take your right hand to your heart if it's available. You're pressing your belly on that right thigh. Maybe your left hand comes to your heart. Both hands are floating. We're here for just 3. Yes. Stay with me for 2. Now slowly in 1, release by bringing both hands down. And we're just going to sit down. So we're on the mat. Your legs stay as they are. So you should have that right knee over that left knee if you came down exactly as you were. And if not, don't worry. Bring that right knee over. That's it. Bring that right knee over the left. And you should be seated where you have your spine nice and long. That's it. And if you need me to move to the side so you can see, you're in a seated kind of twist. So again, make sure the sit bones are nice and seated. Your shoulders are back. Your right leg is over that left knee. And we're just going to take a stretch here. So press into your hands and lift your chest, lift your heart, lift your gaze. Opening up. Maybe pushing that right knee down to open up that right hip. Maybe that feels good for you. And then from here, I'd like for us to slowly take our left arm, reach up. We're going to cross that left elbow outside the right knee, coming into a seated twist, looking over the right shoulder. Yes, lengthen as you breathe in. Twist over to the right as you exhale. Again, lengthen as you breathe in. Twist as you exhale. Keep your legs as they are. And let's just unravel the body, the torso. And let's look over in the opposite direction, coming into a counter stretch. Now here's where it gets a little fun and playful. You stay exactly as you are, but all you're going to do is take your hands and you're going to use your hands to turn you. So if you need to watch me, you're just bringing your hands. So now you're in a down dog facing the back of your mat. Yes, I see Alice, that's it. I see you guys, that's it. You're a down dog, you should be facing the back of your mat. Beautiful playfulness. And if you didn't do it, it's okay. Just face the back of your mat in a down dog. And we're in down dog for just a breath. Inhale through the nose. Slow breath out. We're going to do that same sequence now, but on the left side. So balancing the body with the second flow. Left leg to the sky. Remember, we're not opening up the hip, we're just keeping those toes pointed down. On the exhale, step lightly between your hands. Pause for just a moment. Let's open up by spinning that back foot flat, rising with control. So second warrior 1. So again, as you rise, take notice of what this feels like on this side. Each side is different. Maybe this side is really tight. And if that's the case, then again, you want to open up that front foot so that you have a wide stance. Not like you're in a narrow rope. You want that right hip forward, left hip back. Press into the knife edge of your right foot. Sit low into your left knee. And when you feel stable here, then take the arms up to the sky. Watch what your spine is doing. If you're opening up the heart, then you want to pull the ribs in so you have a nice neutral spine. And take your arms up. Deep breath in. Sit a little lower as you exhale. Again, full breath in. Stay low as you exhale. Take one more breath here. Reach up with those fingertips. Now without moving the feet, just open your arms. Warrior two. This time the left leg is facing forward, good. And your back heel again, or the back arch of your foot rather, is in line with your front heel. So look forward at your left fingers. Palms are facing down. Again, shoulders relax. Take a deep breath in your warrior two. Stay low on the exhale. We're gonna reverse our warrior, just like we did on the other side. So slide the right hand down the back leg, lift the left palm up. Stretch and notice the stretch in the left side body again, preparing for that half moon pose on this side. Take a full breath here, inhale. On the exhale, we're gonna rise up to set up for half moon. Start by bringing your hands to your hips, straighten the front leg, and shorten your stance. So adjust your feet. You wanna feel stable. And now once you've done that, I'd like for you to soften that front knee again. Re-extend that left arm in front of you. And now start to play with that position. Where am I gonna put it that's going to give me the best distribution of weight? So I suggested slightly in front of the foot and out. So this time we're over to the left. You're pressing into the tips of your fingers. That is your support. I find that if you push into the palm of your hand, you're gonna lose that balance. So push into the tips of your fingers. Start to prepare by just shifting the weight into that left foot and lifting the right toes gently off the mat. Again, it doesn't matter how high you go. It's finding that balance and finding that length in your side. You're gonna peel that right hip open. Imagine you're stomping the wall behind you with that right foot so your toes are actively engaged. If you feel strong here, then maybe take that right hand at the hip and just reach it up towards the sky for half moon pose. We're here for just 3. Beautiful, everybody. Stay strong and find your focus for 2. Now the release is slow. In 1, just start by pressing your right hand to the mat. No rush. Move with control and grace. And then notice how the hips hinge towards the top of the mat. So now the right leg is still lifted. The toes are pointing down. Maybe shake that right leg out a couple of times. And we're gonna move into those lovely little Shiva squats. Your glutes are gonna feel this tomorrow. So we're gonna bend that right knee. We're gonna soften the left knee, and we're gonna tuck it behind us as we sit the hip down. That's 1. Good, re-extend, find a little more height, inhale. As you exhale, second yogi squat, pull the belly in. Good, again, re-extend, come up nice and high. Our third and final little baby yogi squat, sit low. Play here. Maybe play with one hand to your heart. Maybe both hands to your heart. We're here for just 3. Pull the belly in, sit low for 2. In 1, both hands to the mat. Take your time and just keep the legs as they are, but just drop your hips down gently. Good. So now you should have the left leg over the right knee. And you're in that seated position again. Good. Now sit up nice and tall. We're gonna stretch out the spine here. So with your hands behind your lower back, chest is open, lift the gaze, drop the head back. Maybe push that left knee down, and you'll feel a nice little opening in your hip. Feel yourself stretch any tension from this previous yogi squat here. So it's a counter stretch. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Now we're going to come back up nice and tall, prepare for the first twist on this side. So again, sit up tall, take this time your right arm up, and as you exhale, hook that right elbow to the outside of the left knee or the thigh, whatever's accessible. Your left hand is just pushing into the mat behind you, creating length, helping you to stay up nice and tall. As you exhale, you twist, looking over that left shoulder. As you inhale, you lengthen, pulling the belly in. And as you exhale, you twist a little bit deeper. Take one more breath just like this. Inhale. Twist, look over to the left. As you exhale, let's slowly unravel back through to center. Take your time and move to the opposite side as you take a counter stretch. Good. Slowly stretching in the opposite direction. Now again, this is that fun part. Your legs don't do anything. You're just moving those hands to the mat. And you're coming into down dog, back to where you started. Yay! Let the head relax, nod your head yes and no. Take a deep breath here, inhale. Open mouth, exhale. Again, full breath in. Slow breath out. Let's drop the knees down to the ground. Grab a sip of water, towel off. How is everyone doing? Just a little quick check-in, because I think that was, okay, good. Now, here is where I wanted us to play a little bit. But again, we don't have to, but it's an option if you want to. So if you want to build, we've done so much with our upper body already. I thought we could play with a little bit of crow pose. So if crow is in your practice, then you're welcome to take crow pose. If it's not, I'm going to guide you through it, and maybe you lift today and maybe you don't. So with our crow pose, it's a nice arm balance. You're going to find your hands underneath your shoulders, just like you would in tabletop position. And then you're going to come into a little squat. So think Malasana frog pose. That's a good way to start. So you can bring your hands to the knees or your elbows to the knees, and you can start here. You can even just hang out here. This is a good alternative to Bakasana. Otherwise, you're welcome to just watch or listen and follow. You're going to, from your frog pose, bring your hands to the mat. And really important to point those toes forward and to find that focus in front of your mat. Now from here, we're just going to create a shelf with our elbows and our biceps, or triceps rather. So as you bend the elbows, your triceps are going to be your little shelf. Bring those triceps underneath so that they're in line with your knees, and maybe that's it for you. Maybe this is where you stay. Otherwise, you're just going to shift the weight into your hands and just play by shifting the weight forwards and back. You're not doing anything more than just shifting the weight forward and back. Really pushing into all 10 fingers, toes point forward. If you want to move into a little bit of a lift, maybe shift the weight into the triceps and maybe play with just lifting one foot off the mat. Maybe that's it. Come back down. Again, gazes forward, hands are grounded. Maybe lift the other foot off the mat. Come back, reset if you need to. And then if you want to fly, again, you're shifting the weight into the hands. Your gaze is forward. You're pulling the belly in and you're lifting one. Or maybe both toes come off the mat. Wherever you are, you're finding your focus in front of you. Go ahead and play. If not, you stay in Malasana. Wherever you are, we're only here for 5 breaths. Try it out, and if it's too much, it's okay. Maybe today is the day you just explore. You take a little leap, or you fall on your face, and that's also okay, without getting too hard. Nice efforts, everybody. And again, breathe. From frog pose, if you're in frog pose, I'd like for you to just bring those hands at your heart center. Deep breath in. Open mouth, exhale. Again, full breath in. Exhale everything out. We meet together in frog pose in 2 more breaths. Together in frog pose, we're here, palms at our heart center, deep breath in. Let everything go. Take your hands to the mat. You're gonna push those hips up, coming into a forward fold. Letting go of everything you've just done. Shake it out. Nod the head yes. Nod the head no. Hanging heavy here. And now I'd like for you to just very gently press into the feet, unravel your spine slowly, 1 vertebra at a time. Letting your head be the last thing to rise. And as you rise up, we're just going to take a moment to bring those feet towards each other. Going to stretch everything you've just done out. So strengthen the arms up to the sky. And on the exhale, I'd like for you to just very gently give yourselves a mini back bend. Push those hips forward. It's It's not about how deep you go. You're pushing the hips forward, the weight is in your heels, and your elbows are cactusing out, just like we did in the first part of our flow. And we rise back up, lengthen. Again, exhale, push those hips forward, weight is in the heels, a very subtle lift up from the heart, not putting any weight in the lower back. And rise back up. As you exhale, let's melt those hands back through our heart center, revisiting our Sun A salutation. Hands come down to the mat. Halfway lift again, pausing here, letting those arms dangle in front. On the exhale, we're going to very gently plant the palms, step back, our final chaturanga of the practice. Make this nice and strong. If you need to drop the knees, do so. Otherwise, look forward. When you're ready, lower halfway. Make sure that the hips lower at the same time as your torso. On the up dog, we're coming here for the breath in, pausing. And then on the exhale, we move right into that downward facing dog. Inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Half pigeon, take your right leg to the sky. This time open up the hip. On the exhale, we're just going to sweep that right knee behind the right ankle. Left ankle behind the right ankle behind the left wrist. And we're just looking behind our left shoulder to make sure those toes are in line. And now if you need to, so you want to come into a little, it's like you're at a 7 with your leg. So you're going to drop that right knee down into your half pigeon and looking over that left shoulder. Good, so Alice, you want to sweep that ankle. So the right ankle is behind your left wrist and then the right knee is down. That's it, yeah. And if that's too much for you, then I'll give you a modification. But wherever you are, you can set yourselves here if you're staying in this variation. For those of us with tight hips, we can just come to the back. And we do the same thing, but we're on our back. We cross that right ankle over that left knee. And we're just in a figure 4 here. Pushing that right knee forward and just letting that left thigh come towards the body. So half pigeon, wherever you are, just find a comfortable sweet spot. Without pushing too much into the pose, let your head relax. If you'd like a little more, then you're welcome to lower to the forearms. Again, just an option. And again, we take 5 breaths in this active resting pose. Coming back to your intention for the practice. Coming back to take that mental scan of the body, again, noticing any of those little sensations that may be creeping back up. Perhaps noticing the shift in the body from your practice already this evening. And just a couple more breaths here. Taking your time to, as always, ease out of the pose the same slow way you went in. Maybe this time start by just pushing into the right hand and then pushing into the left hand. And then tucking your left toes as you slowly shake it back out. Shake it out into a 3-legged dog. And then release back into your down dog. Preparing for that final side of half pigeon. So again, if you're going to go on your back, then go ahead and start to lower onto your back and cross the opposite leg. Otherwise, take your left leg to the sky. Maybe open up the hip. And then from here, you're just very gently going to sweep that left knee behind your left wrist. And then your left ankle behind the right wrist. And again, if it's not available, that's fine. You can keep the heel slightly in, if that's better for you. And you're working on making sure the back leg is straight behind you. Bringing your hands to the mat. Now I have a tight hip left knee. So for me, it's just staying on my hands. Maybe even coming into that supine pigeon with your back down, that left knee crossed over that right knee, or left ankle over the right knee, and maybe hugging that right thigh to your chest. So again, 5 breaths in your pigeon variation, whether it's on your back or whether you're supporting yourselves on your hands. And just finding a position that works within the body on this side. Try not to sit the hips down on either side. Try to keep yourselves up and balanced. Continue to notice your breath. Slowly breathing in and out through the nose. Remembering to keep the inhale balanced with the exhale. Same count in and same count out. Start to slowly, when you're ready, push into each hand one at a time to prepare to release from the pose. Tuck the right toes under first, and then you take your time to slowly push into the hands. Sweep that left leg up, shake it out, bring your blood flow back to that side of the body. Shake, shake, shake. And then we release to our last down dog of the evening. Noticing again the difference from the first down dog to this down dog here on your mat. Press firmly into both hands. Take a deep breath together here, in through the nose, side out through the mouth. Let's take your time to slowly look forward and just make your way to a seated position at the top of your mat. And as you make your way into a seated position, we're just going to prepare for our final poses of the practice. So from here, we're just going to slowly reverse all the way down to our backs. We've already done enough core in our practice with balancing, so we're going to just reach our arms forward, palms face up, pull the belly in, and we're just going to slowly lower, no rush at all the way down towards the mat. We're going to take one bridge pose this evening before we surrender into our Shavasana. So start by just bringing your feet hips width distance apart. Your arms are by your sides. So we did a variation last week, but we're going to focus on our bridge pose today. So with your hands by your sides, you might be able to reach your heels with your fingertips. That's great if you can. And if you can't, no problem. You just want your feet hips width distance apart and your arms to relax by your sides, fingertips towards the heels. Keep the gaze towards the ceiling for the duration of the pose. Exhale everything out. On the inhale breath, we're just going to push into the feet and lift our hips very gently, pausing here. You want to make sure that your glutes aren't too clenched, that they're relaxed as much as you can. Try to press into the pinky toes more so than the big toes. And then start to shimmy your shoulders underneath you one at a time. And then maybe you want to clasp your hands beneath you if it's available. Your chin is now touching your chest. As you lift those hips just a bit higher, remember you're pushing into the pinky toes, imagining you're holding a block between your thighs. Your inner thighs fully engaged. We're lifting for just 5. Keep squeezing those hands beneath you, lifting the hips if you can a bit more for just 3. Keep the breath active for 2. Now listen carefully. On 1, you start by releasing the grip in your hands first. And then once you've done that, just start to lower your spine. Let the hips release last. And then a release for this pose is soles of the feet touching, or Supta Baddha Konasana. So let the soles of the feet touch. Butterfly your knees open. Maybe place one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. And just slow down the heart rate. So our back bending poses bring a lot of energy into the body. So we take this time to bring that back down. Slowing down the heart rate and the breath. And then when you're ready, just start to relax the arms by your sides. Go ahead and hug those knees towards each other and then draw them into your chest. Give yourselves a little squeeze, a much deserved hug. And if you'd like, take any final pose here, maybe a happy baby pose. Grabbing the soles of the feet, butterflying the knees nice and wide, just massaging your spine. Just a couple of gentle sways. yourselves surrender to the final pose of your practice, taking your time to get there. No rush at all. Let those legs extend long in front of you. Let those arms relax by your sides, palms face up. It's a little gesture of receiving benefits from your beautiful work this evening. And then let go of that controlled breath at last. You can even take one final breath together, inhaling through the nose. And then lion's breath, sigh it out. Just melt into your mat, closing your eyes for the last minute of practice. Start to deepen the breath. As always, you are welcome to stay in your Shavasana or return to it after class if needed. Just start to deepen the breath. And noticing that rise and fall of your belly. And start to bring awareness back into your limbs by wiggling your toes and then your fingers. And when you're ready, just take your time to slowly give yourselves one final full body stretch, reaching those arms up behind your head, pointing those toes forward in front of you. Full body stretch here, and then just take your knees back in towards the chest, roll over to that right side, coming into a supported fetal position, and pausing just for a moment in the supported position. And press down very gently into your left hand as you use that as a guide to bring you up. Crossing at the ankles in that easy Sukhasana pose. We're just going to stretch out the spine, so push down on the knees when you're ready. And as you push down on the knees, push your chest forward, deep breath in, lift your heart, lift your chest, inhale, and exhale. As always, we bring our palms to our heart center, just keep them on your knees. We seal our practice with gratitude. Thank you so much for stepping onto your mat and for letting me guide you in peace and gratitude. Namaste. Well done, everybody.